There's a shiny new ski lodge at the base of Gore Mountain in the southern Adirondacks. It cost $40 million of taxpayer money to build. It's ready to roll, except it's not open yet. How a clash between the local government there and the state agency that runs the ski area is holding things up. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from the Wild Center in Tupper Lake, dedicated to strengthening visitors' connections to the natural world. More at wildcenter.org.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Monday, November 24th. First up, flu infections are on the rise in New York State, and some health experts are worried a new version of the virus may be spreading. According to the CDC, most of the reported cases around the country this season have been among children. The vaccination rate among kids nationwide is 34%. That's similar to what it was last year. About 37% of adults have gotten flu shots so far this season. Health experts say the vaccine can help protect against the most severe cases of the flu. Last year was one of the deadliest flu seasons in recent decades, leading to about 18,000 deaths. Flu infections generally spike from December through February. Republican State Assemblyman Robert Smullen launched his campaign for Congress last week. He's looking to fill the seat currently held by Elise Stefanik, who's making a run for governor. As the New York Public News Network's Aaron Shello-Levine reports, Smullen is making it clear he plans to run as a strong MAGA Trump Republican.
On Thursday, Robert Smullen, who represents the state's 118th Assembly District, became the first Republican to enter the race for New York's 21st Congressional District.
That's why I'm running for Congress, to take our fight to the next level, to stand with President Trump as he strengthens our borders and restores law and order.
Smullen, who served for 24 years in the U.S. Marine Corps, touted his alignment with President Donald Trump to a room full of supporters in Johnstown. According to his campaign, Smullen is the only Trump-appointed conservative in the race. Smullen served on the President's Commission on White House Fellows during Trump's first administration.
That's what President Trump calls the American First Agenda, and it's exactly what I'll fight for in Congress.
Lifelong Johnstown native Pat Buell said she is drawn to Smullen because of his allegiance to Trump.
The economy is better than it was under the previous administration, but there's some economic issues that I think need to be addressed. I go to the grocery store and I wonder how families can afford their groceries.
Speaking to reporters, Smullen said affordability is a top issue, and he sees an America First agenda as the best way to address constituents' concerns.
We need to stop inflation from making things very expensive for our people. That means to stop runaway spending to make sure that all of our people can afford to live here.
Despite his ties to the Trump administration, Smullen said he'll also be able to reach independent voters.
Yeah, so I actually learned in the United States Marine Corps, which is part of the military, which I think is the finest institution of national unity that we have. I'd like to take that same idea into the U.S. Congress. I'll work with anybody as long as it's in the cause of serving the people in upstate New York. That's what upstate first means.
Independence could be key in a district that was represented by Democrat Bill Owens before Stefanik came into office in 2014. The seat is open now after Stefanik announced earlier this month that she would be mounting a challenge to Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul. Earlier in the year, Stefanik was thought to be Trump's pick to serve as ambassador to the United Nations, potentially setting the stage for a special election. That nomination fell through, but not before Democrat Blake Gendabine, a Lisbon dairy farmer, launched his campaign for New York 21. Democrats Gendabine and Dylan Hewitt, a progressive from South Glens Falls, have both previously declared their candidacy for Stefanik's seat. In Saratoga Springs, I'm Aaron Shello-Levine for the New York Public News Network.
Gore Mountain's new lodge is at the center of disputes between the Olympic Regional Development Authority, which owns the ski area, and the town of Johnsburg, where it's located. Town officials want ORDA to cover extra costs and utility bills that the state agency says it didn't originally agree to. And the town, which is tasked with running a sewer line to the lodge, is behind schedule. Jim Odato has been covering the issue for the Adirondack Explorer and spoke with our Adirondack reporter, Emily Russell.
So you've got a problem in which there's a big lodge, almost 12,000 square feet of new square footage that the state of New York taxpayers have paid for. And you've got a town that has got the money together to build a sewer system, which would link to the lodge and to other establishments in North Creek and send to a new treatment plant in the Hudson River, all under construction still. So the timing has not worked out well. This has created a classic town-state conflict and clash. And you've got a town with a very small budget and very small population spending money on engineering reports and water connections and providing services to this major partner that has needs, has water needs, sewer needs, other needs.
What are officials at ORDA saying about these demands that ORDA pay to haul sewage off and, as you reported, pay some easement fees? Yeah, what's been the response from ORDA throughout all this?
Well, ORDA has in letters indicated a frustration with the process and the interactions with some of the town leaders. They have been asked by some of these town leaders to pay for certain things. Some of them are specifically tied to the ski bowl project, and some of them are from years past expenses that they haven't been asked to pay for before. And this is discouraged, is the verb that has been used by ORDA's CEO. And they have balked at agreeing to pay for some of these things, including the engineering report that the town needed to do to determine whether some of the hookups, such as water hookups and sewer hookups, and they wanted ORDA to pay for these engineering bills because they were generated to deal with ORDA's needs. And so they had to work out these kind of things.
And what are town officials saying about ORDA's role and responsibility in all this?
Well, on the record, what town officials have said at town board meetings is that communication with ORDA has been poor. And so they haven't always known what ORDA is doing and thinking and planning. And they have, I think, felt that the communication could be much better. Maybe this is part of the problem of the conflict, is that the two sides haven't really communicated properly.
ORDA owns other ski centers like Whiteface and Mount Van Hoevenberg and then down in the Catskills. Why do you think this project is seeing some major hurdles that I don't know that I've heard of other ORDA-run facilities experience in other towns in New York State?
Yeah, I think they've encountered some pushback in the town of Johnsburg, unlike in the town of North Elba, where Lake Placid is, and down in Bel Air in the Catskills, because the town board in Johnsburg has some key leaders who are of the mind that this big state of New York public authority needs to pay its fair share for the right to use town property and to tap into town assets. And like I said, they haven't been bashful asking for money, and they see ORDA as a revenue partner, sharing and providing revenues to the town treasury.
So ski season is getting underway here in the Adirondacks. What's being done to ensure that this lodge opens sooner rather than later?
Well, it looks as if the town of Johnsburg and ORDA have a working memorandum of understanding going forward as to what ORDA is expected to do and what the town is expected to receive from ORDA to make sure that this hold and haul arrangement, which is expected to be temporary, gets accomplished what ORDA needs to get accomplished to open up the lodge. So it seems like they've settled on an agreement that would allow this lodge to open in November of 2025, perhaps by Thanksgiving.
That was Jim O'Dotto from the Adirondack Explorer speaking with our Adirondack reporter, Emily Russell. You can find a link to O'Dotto's latest reporting at our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Eddie Lawrence of Saranac Lake and Hank Soto of Stony Creek. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.